The story began with curiosity and passion for a ball, and turned into a story of a great talent stuck in a limited body, striving to prove himself and his abilities. It's a story of mental and physical development together. A story of a young man who wants to please his countrymen after leaving them to achieve his dreams. This is the story of the beginning of Messi's career and how he ascended to the top of football.
Immens Messi, encara 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 Messi. Mamma mia, Leo Messi! El triplete del Barça.
In the province of Santa Fe, particularly in the city of Rosario, Lionel Messi started his footballing career at a very young age. He always played with his older brothers Rodrigo and Mateus, and at 5 years of age, he played with the local Grandoli youth team. And despite his age, you can already see his change of pace and great dribbling skills. And usually coaches at that level would emphasize passing the ball, but nobody told that to Messi. Lionel played almost 2 years at Grandoli, and they won all their matches. And in every training session, Lionel was disciplined and reserved. Gonzalo Diaz, a teammate of Lionel at Grandoli, said that there were many talented players that played at the club, but they lacked the perseverance in training. His father Jorge had a say in this. His philosophy was simple: work hard, be persistent, and show humility, and you can achieve your goals. Jorge was also devouring his sons daily with VHS tapes of Maradona, and was Leo's second coach in Grandoli as well. The writer Guillaume Balaguer said in his biography about Messi that his father was his #1 idol. He was his mentor, hero, and he had absolute trust in him. Jorge was also the person who decided to transfer Leo to one of Argentina's big clubs, Newell's Old Boys. Lionel was a key part of what was later called the Machine of '87, an unbeatable youth side.
¿Y apellido?
Lionel Messi.
El mejor jugador de la cancha. Fuiste elegido por nosotros. ¿Lo sabías?
No.
2 goles hiciste, ¿no es cierto, Messi? ¿A quién le querés dedicar este campeonato?
A mi papá, a mi tío y a toda mi familia, a todos los que me conocen.
One of the players' fathers mentioned that Messi scored approximately 100 goals per season, which also meant that Leo had scored almost 500 goals with the team between 1994 to 2000. But there was an issue. At the age of 10, Lionel's parents decided to consult a specialist after the advice of one of Newell's directors. They noticed that Lionel was smaller than the other kids, as he was about 10 centimeters shorter than the average kid at his age group. They went to Dr. Diego Schwarnstein in January of 1997, and the diagnosis took about 6 months to determine Leo's problem: partial growth hormone deficit. So Lionel had to inject himself every day with the biosynthetic growth hormone starting from January of '98. And it was not cheap. It costed the Messi family between $1,000 to $1,500 a month. Fortunately for his father Jorge, he worked for a state-owned steel company, so insurance covered the treatment's cost for the first 2 years. But Argentina's economy was collapsing in the late 1990s, and after the insurance stopped covering the treatment, Jorge was struggling to make ends meet. He went to Old Boys for support, as the club president Sergio Almiron sent funds to Jorge on a monthly basis, but the amounts varied. Jorge was asking for more, but there was no response from the club. He tried pressuring the club by taking Lionel for a trial at River Plate. Newell's tried to solve the problem immediately, but in the end, they just couldn't bear the full cost of the treatment. Everything was pushing Jorge toward making a very difficult decision. At that time, numerous Argentinian families were fleeing the country for a better life after the economic disaster. Young footballers within big Argentinian clubs were considered assets and ways to liquidate. And for Jorge and his son Lionel, it was well worth the risk. After the trial with River, an agent called Horacio Gagioli was informed of Messi's talents. He had a relationship with the prestigious Catalan agent Josep Manguela, whom was very close to Barcelona and was responsible for Maradona's transfer to the Blaugrana in 1982. Horacio asked for tapes of Lionel from Jorge and sent them to Manguela's office. Then Manguela talked to his friend and then Barca sporting director Carlos Rexach and insisted on setting up a trial for Lionel. Jorge and his son Lionel flew to Barcelona in 2000 for the trials, and in each session, Lionel gave it his all and was impressive, but there was no decision from the club. When Rexach came back from the Olympics, he had the chance to see Messi at the end of his trial. He was convinced and thought that Barcelona had to sign the youngster immediately. But there were some doubts inside the club. No one wanted to bear the responsibility of a family that risked everything and left their home for this opportunity. And success was not guaranteed, and there were no guarantees that all the costs behind signing Lionel would be repaid on the field. So Jorge and his son Leo went back to Argentina in the beginning of October after missing way too many school days. Many factors resulted in Barcelona stalling the signing of Messi. First, Lionel was a small foreign boy who was only 13 years old, and La Masia directors at that time preferred local players who were around 15 or even 16 years of age. Second, Barcelona had to find his father some work in accordance with FIFA regulations, which banned any signing of foreign players under 18 unless he was accompanied by a parent. Jorge also asked to live with his son in an apartment outside of La Masia's campus. Third, Barcelona was struggling with several first-team issues after their superstar Figo had left, so signing a 13-year-old foreigner was not one of their priorities, especially with all the costs attached to Messi from hormone treatment to private accommodation. After 2 months had passed without a response from Barcelona, and with Jorge getting more frustrated by the minute, Rexach came up with a solution to calm things down. With the presence of Manguela and Horacio with Rexach at the Pompeia tennis club, Carlos signed a napkin, and he wrote on that napkin that he was committed to the signing of Messi as per the previously agreed figures, and regardless of opinions on the contrary. That last phrase is crucial, as it points to some board members who were against the idea of signing Lionel and all the various costs attached to the youngster. It was an important step before signing the first official contract, and in January of 2001, all parties agreed on the signing after President Joan Gaspar gave his final nod on all of Jorge and Messi's requests, including the hormone treatment. Jorge and Lionel took their first big step towards achieving their goals, but there were still some difficulties. Lionel broke his left fibula in only his second match, and when he came back 2 months later, he had an ankle injury straight away. And Leo's mother had to go back to Argentina, as living in Catalonia was proving to be difficult for his brothers and his little sister. It was a tough period for Lionel that made him rethink his future. Either he goes back with his family to Argentina or split his family and stay with his father in Barcelona. But he insisted on staying and was determined to achieve his dream. Finally, the focus was back to football. In football and mental terms, Lionel was evolving very quickly in Barcelona's various age groups. And in physical terms, Lionel was significantly growing in front of the coach's eyes, as he grew 29 centimeters in a few months. He had a fantastic attitude towards training and had only football to look forward to, as he was alone with his father, away from his friends and family, in a foreign city and in a foreign land. It was a tough situation, but that kept him focused only on playing football. In the 2001-2002 season, Lionel played in the famous Junior B team alongside names such as Fabregas and Gerard Piqué. That season also saw the young manager Tito Vilanova taking over the team. In the following season, and under the coach Alex Garcia, Lionel started to truly shine as he played in every match and was the top goal scorer of the team. Garcia used to experiment with Messi in many different positions within the lineup, but Leo preferred to play centrally behind the striker and not stuck on the wings. That team won every single title at hand, and despite the weak scouting system in 2003 compared to today, that Cadet A side attracted some eyes. One of them was Arsenal's representative in Spain, Francis Cagigao, who was astonished by Messi's talents and connected with his father Jorge. Arsenal were the first European club to send Leo an offer since he arrived in Barcelona, but too many obstacles made the signing difficult. But despite that, Arsenal succeeded in signing Fabregas. As the youth side thrived in Barcelona, the first team was in dire crisis. The return of Van Gaal was considered a failure, and the new signings flopped as the Blaugrana ended the season with their worst league position in 15 years. Barca president Joan Gaspar resigned and fresh faces entered the fray. It was a new era for Barcelona, and this new board and management were aware of the many talents within the club, as Lionel Messi signed a new contract until 2012 with a buyout clause of 30 million euros, which increases to 80 million euros if he got into the Barca B squad, and 150 million euros if he managed to get into the first team. In the 2003-2004 season, Messi played in 37 matches. What's fascinating about that season was his meteoric rise between the ranks. He started that season with the under-19 B side in August, then played some matches for the A side of the same age group, and that caught the attention of first-team manager Frank Rijkaard, who was in need of youth players to fill the squad for a mid-season friendly against Porto for the opening of their new Dragao Stadium in November. Most of the first-team players left for international duty, as Messi debuted with the first team in the 75th minute at the age of 16 years and 145 days, wearing the number 14 shirt. When he came back from that friendly, he immediately played with the Barca C side for the first time. 11 matches were enough to promote him once again to play for the Barca B side. In the final stretch of that season, Messi was alternating between all of these age groups, excluding the first team. Whenever any age group in Barcelona was struggling that season, they would ask Messi for support and to help them win, either by playing with players of his age or with players 4 years older than him, as was the case in the Barca B side, which played in the 3rd division of the Spanish league. His father Jorge recalls, "Suddenly we went from nothing to everything we had dreamed of." When Messi stopped his hormone treatment at 14 years of age, Barca staff made him a special training regime to focus on his physical strength and speed by increasing his lower body muscle mass, and the change was clear. But despite debuting with the first team at 16 years of age, Lionel had to wait a while before returning to Rijkaard's side again. That first team was restructuring under new stars like Deco, Ito, Ronaldinho and Xavi. That's why in the 2004-2005 season, Leo was a permanent starter for the Barca B side. Rijkaard was aware of Messi and talked to his father about his extraordinary attributes, but he wanted them to have some patience as he waited for the right time to use him. Leo started taking part in first-team training sessions, as Barca left-back Giovanni Van Bronckhorst said that Ronaldinho mentioned in Messi's first training session that he's going to be better than him. But the reality was that Messi was not ready. He played for Barca B, who played in the 3rd division. On top of that, he played in a 3-4-3 system as almost a second striker. And despite the insistence of the coaches on Leo staying on the wings, the Argentine loved to dribble inside with the ball towards the central areas. The specific role doesn't have a place within the 4-3-3 system that the first team used. It was also very rare in those days for a 16-year-old or 17-year-old to feature with the first team in official matches. But as days had passed and with each training session with the first team, the doubts started to disappear. And almost a year after his debut against Porto, Rijkaard subbed in Messi in the 82nd minute in a tough match against neighbours Espanyol. It was not a change to appease the fans and win them over. The Argentine was asked to impact the match. At 17 years and 4 months, Messi became the youngest Barca player at that time to play in an official match. Messi continued the season alternating between the first and second team. Despite being on the bench most of the time, he gained a lot of experience just by being around professional players, either inside or outside the pitch. Ronaldinho was one of the players that had a big impact on Messi, as he gained his trust quickly and became like a big brother to him, along with Deco, Silvinho and Motta. With Barcelona closing in on a league title, Messi got another chance as he came on as a substitute in the 88th minute against Albacete. With 2 minutes left, Ronaldinho found him on 2 occasions. The first was called offside, which seemed incorrect. On the second try, Messi succeeded in scoring his first of many goals for Barcelona. Barcelona won their first league title in 5 years, as Messi played only 70 minutes overall in La Liga, and also got his debut in the Champions League and played 90 minutes against Ukrainian side Shakhtar Donetsk. In the summer of 2005, Messi competed with the Argentine national team in the Under-20 World Cup. Despite the many attempts of the Spanish Federation in tying Lionel to the Spanish national team, there was no doubt about his loyalty to Argentina. The world was amazed by Messi's performance in the tournament as he scored 6 goals in total and 2 goals in the final against the Nigerian national team. Lionel was named player of the tournament after Argentina won the final. And Nike aired an advertisement that reflected Lionel's rise within the world of football. And its message was simple.
Recuerda mi nombre, Leo Messi.